you. So can we start? Can you tell me how did you like your last time which you've been in Czech Republic in Prague?
Yes, and I'm going to be telling the listeners things that they're already familiar with, but the downtown area of Prague is very beautiful, and I like the way that they've done it, where they've kept a theme to the architecture. It always is kind of gross the way some of these cities allow all different kinds of architecture. There's no theme to anything, so it ends up to being one mess. But they've really done it right in Prague, and I was at the Hotel Adriana. I went over on a Saturday and listened to David Icke speak all day, and then the next day on Sunday, I was in the same place, which was the Great Lucerna Hall, which, as you know, is 4 flights down. And so the reason I mentioned this is I gave 5 talks in the Great Lucerna Hall, and 2 of those are already up somewhere. I believe that they can listen to 2 of the talks in Czech, because they were being translated. At the same time that I was speaking, there were 2 translators that were translating it into Czech, and people that had headphones could listen. Right. So those talks should be available somewhere for people to hear.
That's beautiful. I can find out, and we gonna do that the same style probably on December 28th on Wednesday on the radio. We go when they gonna ask you something, I gonna translate it from Czech to English and the same style back. Okay, perfect. So you like it there, right? You've been there with David Icke, right?
Yeah, he came separate than me. We didn't travel together, but we spent some time on Friday and Saturday together. But he spoke a long time. He started at 9 o'clock Saturday morning and spoke all the way to 10. And I'm sure that his talk is also should be available in Czech, because the same translators that translated for him also translated for me.
Okay. So, can we start today our conversation, let's say, with, because that's your superior knowledge about Illuminatis? Can you explain something about that to our Czech listeners?
Yes. In case they're not familiar with the term or this mother of secret societies, let me kind of baby step people through. Most people are familiar with European royalty, and they're familiar that all of European royalty are related. You know, it's like King of Greece will be related to the royalty in the United Kingdom, on and on. So you have one bloodline basically there that's making up all this royalty of Europe. Well, down through history, there have been these elite bloodlines, and we even have these same bloodlines over here in America, but they're lower key. And there was never any point in time where these elite bloodlines decided, you know what, we're tired of running the world, we're tired of running things, we're just going to step aside and let these peon low common people out in the street run things. They never did. Now, they're a lot more low key, but these powerful bloodlines have created what I would call the mother of secret societies. And, you know, a lot of times people's theology follows their morality. In
Right.
other words, how they act, they find something to justify it. Well, the perfect justification for these power-hungry bloodlines is Luciferianism and Satanism. And so I did thousands of hours of research into the Illuminati, and then I was fortunate to start working with people that were trying to get out. So I've spent a lot of time also with people that were members of the Illuminati. And then one of the things that you'll see in my talk that I gave in the Great Lucerna Hall there in Prague was I talked some about all the different Illuminati ritual sites in Europe that I've exposed, including the Chateau de Saint-Marois near Muno, southern Belgium. It's real close to France and Luxembourg there.
Right.
And so, anyway, that's a little bit about what the Illuminati are. They're very powerful bloodlines, and I have a book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati, where I go into who these people are, their connections, what they're doing. I wrote a series of books on the Illuminati, 7-book series.
Right.
And if people are interested in more information, they can go to my website, pentracks.com, 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 and they can see my books that are available and they can learn more.
Yeah. Okay, and I will tell them, and I will translate it to Czech. But let me ask you: do you got any knowledge who is above them? Who? Because they are the top who drive the society, but somebody else must be too superior to them. You think they are a human being too, or it is something else?
Well, from talking to them, from talking to people that I was helping get out of the Illuminati, other people, and including I have also interacted with people within the hierarchy that are still in the Illuminati hierarchy. So I've had extensive contact and research, and across the board, it's pretty consistent what they say. Everybody said the same thing, and even the people that are still members. And that is that they are getting their agenda from non-human sources, and sometimes they refer to these as fallen angels, sometimes they refer to them as aliens. David Icke refers to them as archons. Whatever name you want to give these critters,
Right.
they're non-human intelligences that have a non-human agenda, an anti-human agenda. In fact, if you look at what's going on and you look at the agenda, you realize that the Illuminati are really the elite that are running the EU, the elite that are these globalists. They have a non-human agenda that's anti-human, and the Illuminati are traitors to the human race. They're
Right.
selling us out for all the wealth and power that they get. And also they're being given some technology by these non-human intelligences. They sometimes call them aliens, but from what I can understand, the best I can understand, is that they're interdimensional. They're not coming from some far-off galaxy, but they're interdimensional. And that relates to something that you were interested in discussing, which was CERN.
Right. Right, exactly. I hear something that very bad things coming from CERN, and the people don't recognize that. When they try to open other dimension to get them out. Somebody think they are trying to get them out from Saturn or Jupiter to CERN, which is in Switzerland. You know, can you explain that?
I can talk some about CERN. There may be other people that are more qualified, but there's certain things that I can say that I can contribute to the discussion. Back in 1991, I was working with 4 women that had been teamed together in the Illuminati that were trying to get out. And one of these Illuminati women, and bear in mind, this is 1991.
91, yeah.
91, 92. This is
a long
quite
time.
A long time ago. Yeah. And she said, I need to understand what the Illuminati's next big project is. They're going to be working in quantum physics. And she said, I'm going to try to study quantum physics to understand what they are going to start doing. Well, that kind of went over my head, you know, because I was like, at that time I hadn't heard about CERN. And then there was another person that had been in the Illuminati, totally unrelated to this woman. No contact, or, I mean, coming from a totally different part of the country, telling me that when she was in the Illuminati, she heard that CERN was an Illuminati project. So, you know, I had been given a heads up that there's something, you know, going on here, another agenda to this thing. But I really, you know, I was teaching high school subjects at one point, and I was showing films of quantum physics to my students, and so the whole CERN thing, I don't know how well your audience knows this, but they have built this. It's actually the world's largest man-made thing. Project, yeah. And they spent $4.4 billion U.S. dollars. That's the equivalent in U.S. dollars on building this LHC, the Hadron Collider, there that's close to CERN. And when I see enormous amounts of money spent on a project, especially as everyone knows, Greece, Spain, they're hurting economically. You know, all these countries are really on the edge economically, and yet they're contributing large sums of money to this project. And so what is going on? When I see large sums of money involved in things, well, let me interrupt my flow of thoughts here to talk about NASA. NASA is one agency that's similar to CERN in that supposedly it's just a science agency that's, you know, but I discovered all kinds of black projects, mind control, criminal activities, all kinds of dark, bad projects that were being run hidden behind NASA. In other words, they have this agency that's supposedly just involved in science, but behind that nice public front, they run all kinds of criminal activities behind it, and they also run occult projects where they're getting into occult mind control and all kinds of stuff. And you'll notice that in the NASA logos and the names that they give to their projects, just like the Apollo project. Right. Well, interestingly, you know, you have the Apollo project for NASA, and then CERN is built on an ancient Apollo temple. Yeah. So there's a lot of, you know, the CERN logo is 666. You've got the Shiva thing there. Right. You've got people doing Luciferian rituals down in the CERN tunnels. You got all this weirdness there. And so it has the same kind of feel that NASA does, in that here they've got enormous sums of money being put into something, but what are the dark projects? What are they running behind the front? Because I have a hard time believing that these Illuminati globalists that actually in secret are Luciferians, the same kind of people that got exposed by me and others in the Dutroux affair in Belgium, which was a big scandal. It's the same kind of people, and I can go into listing names and things that they have done, on and on, but people can read my Bloodlines of the Illuminati book or listen to some of my other talks to learn about this. I'm going to stay focused on CERN, but anyway, these people that are running things are very shady characters. They're Luciferians. They're Satanists. And so I have to wonder, what kind of agenda are they running here? And one of the things that they talk about is that they want to break through and find other dimensions, Right. And so, what are they really trying to do there? Well, some people think, and they go back to Revelations, the last book of the Bible, also known as Apocalypse, and in Revelation 7, it talks about an abyss. It talks about demons being released, and so they're concerned that they're trying to open up portals, which they even say they want to open up portals, and then like you were talking about, they're trying to create a Birkeland current between the Earth and Saturn. Right. And what's their hidden agenda here? What are they really after? So let's go back here for a minute and kind of look at something. Sir John Dee was the chief magician of Elizabeth I, England's queen. And he was a mathematician, and he used Enochian magic to conjure up a spirit. And he drew a picture of that spirit. Well, that spirit looks exactly like the small gray aliens that we have, that so many people have talked about, the small gray aliens. So here we have a demon or a spirit conjured by Enochian magic that looks like one of these aliens. This is something historical. I didn't make this up. Well, interestingly, there in CERN, they have Enochian magical signs there that they've put in the facility. So it just makes you wonder, what are these people after? What are they trying to, release demons from some from
Saturn?
Or somewhere. What is really going on here? Now, initially, I took a very scientific approach, and people were saying, well, there's something suspicious about this, and I was really reluctant to say anything because I wanted to believe that, this was just science. But, the more I look at it and the more I look at it, it's not just dissecting atoms. Now, that's on the cover, that's what they're trying to do. They supposedly, we know, I'm not saying supposedly, but they found a pentaquark, which is 4 quarks and an antiquark. They have found a type of Higgs boson particle. These are all subatomic particles. And as our listeners may know, what they're doing is that in this huge almost 17-mile round circumference circular tunnel, they're taking and they're accelerating protons. They have 2,808 bundles, bunches is what they call it.
Right.
and each one of those bunches has 100 billion protons, and then they're shooting them near the speed of light, and they collide them. And then from all the pieces that are flying out there, they're trying to, with their supercomputers, they even have a quantum computer there, helping them. With all of their computing, they trying to track what happens when you have this crash. And then they're hoping that they will find all these new subatomic particles. But they're wanting to go beyond just finding subatomic particles. They have plans to break through the veil between us and other dimensions.
Yeah.
Because their equations, these are all theoretical equations, but they're equations because they've looked at the solar system and the galaxies, and they're like, there's something missing here. And they have come to the conclusion through their equations that 80% of matter in the universe is actually dark matter that we can't see. So they want to take and 14 teravolts of electricity, which is an incredible amount of electricity. They want to pinpoint fire it at a small point, and they want to pierce the Higgs boson field, the Higgs field, and break through it into something else. And they even say that when they break through, they're going to pull something out. But one thing I can say, I don't know what they're going to find, and they act like they don't know what they're going to find when they break into these other dimensions.